All right, we are back. Listen, look at me. Listen, we were just talking to Andrew Frishkoff of Philadelphia LISC, Local Initiative Support Corporation, and check them out. You know, Google them. They have given out since the 1980s $400 million, and right now they got a new initiative, and it's really for local communities, folks. You don't even have to be a 501c3, and that's pretty rare, but you can get $2,000 to help your project to improve your neighborhood, your community, and so they're going to give out 12 of those, and so check that out. Right now, I'm joined by a young man that I have seen perform a number of times. His name is David Lyve. It's like Live, but with a Y instead of an I. He is the winner of the PHL Live Center Stage R&B category for 2017. Yeah, and listen, you know, hey, that's no small feat. We have got some fantastic judges, Grammy Award winners, top folks. And, you know, it's not his first time performing. I've seen him perform before. Just really fantastic talent. And he is very charismatic, offers a lot. He has 10 years singing, songwriting, performing, producing, and he is just a fascinating gentleman. Let me welcome David Lyve to the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, listen to that voice, all right? See, listen to his voice, my voice. You get to see why he's a singer, songwriter, and all that. You know, listen, you have given me, you know, kind of like this very a good bio. I've learned a couple of things about you from your fun facts. And I like this one. I once ran down Puff Daddy Motorcade just to try to give him a demo.
Yes.
Hey, that's dedication, you know.
Shout out to Puff Daddy.
Oh, my goodness. When did that happen?
So, remember when he was in the Broadway play Raisin in the Sun?
Yeah, yeah.
So, I went to that show, didn't have any money, so I drove my sister's 19...
How old were you? When was this?
This was, I don't even know, 5, 6, maybe? It's maybe about 10 years ago.
10 years ago, okay.
So my sister let me borrow her car. Thank God to my sister. We were
Yes.
in Virginia, and the car was like a 1900 jalopy. So you can imagine. So I drive all the way up there, no money. Just had enough to get the standing room ticket. So you have to wait in line at like 6 in the morning. So go to the first show, and they had this announcement, oh, Puff Daddy won't be here today. He's ill. We have this stand-in understudy to do the show. So I drive back to Virginia, didn't see the show, drove back to New York the next day, stood in line at 6 a.m. Just because I wanted to give him a demo. He's going to be in the show. Why not?
Right.
So he performed that night. He did the show. So I left early before the show was over so I can, you know, get outside. Because, you know, everybody wants to shake hands, take pictures.
For sure, yeah.
And his security happened to be around the back. So I started talking to them. You know, is there any way I could get to Puff Daddy? And he was like, well, that's not our job.
Right.
You know, we'll get fired. But he's coming out of this door, so stay over here. So he ends up coming out of the other door.
Oh goodness.
So everybody's...
They did a good job. They sent you to the other door.
Right. So, you know, hindsight, that's what they should have done.
Yeah.
So he comes out, he shakes hands, they rush him into, you know, those, you know, the black Escalades, and, you know, they shoot down the highway or what have you. So I'm sitting there a little broken.
Yeah.
What do? You either go home or you know why you came. So I take off down the street, and they made a right, and just so happened the red lights were working in my favor.
Oh, there you go.
So I run up to
what kind of footwear are we talking about?
I had slick bottoms on.
Oh my goodness!
Because I wanted to look nice. You go into a Broadway show. I don't want to look like.
You didn't bring your track shoes.
No, had no intentions of running. So it's 3 Jeeps, and then there's like a security Jeep afterwards. So I run all the way up to the light. It's like 3 or 4 blocks, and if you know, I'm sure you're familiar with New York, so it's people everywhere. You're bumping into people.
Yeah.
It's just like a commercial.
Right.
So I get to the light. They end up going through the light, but his security detail ended up staying around. So I chased down the security car, knocked on the window, and so they're like,
it's that guy.
You know, here he's back again. And I'm just pleading my case. Please get this up here. I drove all the way up here. Yada 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 yada. So they ended up taking my CD. I don't know whether they gave it to him or not. I'm pretty sure they didn't, but they gave me the number to his studio. So I called up the studio, and they gave me the runaround, of course.
Of course. Yes.
But that was like a win for me to say, you know, you came up here, you gave it to who you needed to give it to. so you can go back home at least feeling like a champion.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, and for me, that's a story about, someone who really is giving his all and, is willing to do what it takes to get the job done. And that's a lot of people who are in the creative arts economy, kind of like flying without a net, giving it their all, and really, really positive on the idea that I might succeed.
You might. And as long as you have a mic, that's enough for me. That is enough.
Well, listen, we are going to listen to a little bit of a song that you produced with Scott Carter. You wrote and produced it. It's a song called Nina.
Yes.
And so let's take a listen.
Who was that? What's his?
All right, so we're listening to some of David Lyve. Well, that's you for singing for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And are you playing some instruments there too?
Yes, that is me on guitar and bass and keys.
Oh goodness, you're multi-talented for sure, right?
Multi.
Oh goodness.
A lot of nights when I could have been out, I was in the room practicing. So.
Well, I've seen you perform, and definitely you got that whole sexual kind of charisma man thing going on. He takes his shirt off, he points at the ladies, and they go, "Ooh!"
Only when it's necessary.
all part of a day's work, right?
Right,
Okay. Well, listen, because you do say that you have a emotional and spiritual perspective on what it takes to pique an audience's attention and build the obsession. Tell me about that, because I don't know a darn thing about that, man.
Oh, you know more than you think you do.
I sure don't. So tell us.
Well, I always liked the word obsession.
Okay.
All of the artists that I grew up loving, I was borderline obsessed with them for one reason or another.
Right.
Whether they had great interviews or they had great music or great shows, you get obsessed with the idea of whatever they're doing. I'm attracted to it.
Right.
So,
right.
I mean, I did my first show when I was 7 years old, so I always wanted to build this aura of I gotta have whatever David is giving, and God has been a huge part of that. Just being able to have something to say after the show is over. Like, we do a lot of music and that's fun, but let's give you some food for thought as well. So you're getting a good time, but you're also getting fed.
Right.
So it's not just show, let's go after party and drink and all that stuff.
Right.
I'm more of a streamlined performance. So when you see like a full show, you'll see beginning, middle, and end, just like more of a story than just, he's just singing and performing and whatever.
Right.
But shout out to David O with the awesome
thank you.
Lyve.
Yeah.
I just really appreciate the platform that you've presented,
thank
especially
you.
for artists that are still not Bruno Mars. You give us a lot of, hope. And, you know,
well,
you
thank
have
you.
that chance, like we were talking about earlier,
Yeah.
you know, just to be on stage and just showcase, you know, I think it was a great, great thing. So,
Well,
thanks
thank
to
you. Hey, listen, thanks to you. I do it because of people like you that don't quit, don't give up, keep the dream alive, keep hopeful. And listen, it'll be great for our city if we could actually help you and you become successful and don't leave us. Stay in our city. And yeah, that would be fantastic. Now, by the way, you do a lot of traveling.
Yes.
Yeah, and in fact, I heard you're going to Africa, right?
Well, I just came back
Okay,
from
okay,
Africa. We're
right.
trying to go again. I just
Mhm.
came back from Lagos, Nigeria,
Wow.
which
Mhm.
was an awesome experience. If
Oh.
you've never been to Africa,
Mm.
please go because all of the misconceptions and
Oh.
what we think Africa is
Right,
totally inaccurate.
Yes.
But I got a chance to go, and I didn't go as a tourist. I went with a family,
Yep.
so I got to see the regular side of
Mm.
what everyday life is in Nigeria.
Mm.
It was absolutely amazing. Did some singing, but just to see the countryside,
Right,
and
right.
the people, like you fall in love with the people and
Mm.
the kids,
Mm.
and bought a lot of gifts and wardrobes and stuff like that. So it was very, very, very amazing.
Now, you have a show coming up at Warm Daddy, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, March 8th. I know the date well. It's my birthday. March
Happy
8th.
birthday.
Hey, thank you very much. March 8th, 7 p.m. Tell us about the show.
So it's a show produced by Daily Grind Radio. They're
Mhm.
doing a 90s celebration. Everybody's in love with 90s music.
Mm-hmm. I was there.
You know, it's okay. But so they invited me to.
Hey, way to sell your show. Come
Right.
on, it's fantastic.
No, I mean the show's going to be great. But,
Yeah.
you know, 90s music is definitely
Yes, yes.
But they wanted me to come on
Mhm.
and do some songs that I fell in love with in the 90s and a couple of original sets. It's me and about 4 other performers. It's going to be a very, very great night. It will sell out. So if you want to attend,
Get your tickets now.
get them now, get them early.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to be a really, really great night.
Okay, well, check it out. David Lyve, Lyve, David Lyve, Warm Daddies, March 8th, and get some tickets. You'll have a great time, enjoy the whole thing, and meet David Lyve himself. Now, for folks who want to know more about you, where can they go to check out your music, follow you, see what's happening?
Great. The main place, go to my website,
Mm-hmm.
www.davidlive.com. Or you can check me on any social media. Everything is at David Lyve, and that's Live with a Y, not an I. So it's DAVIDLYVE. It's all
Right.
social media: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everything. Or go to the website. Everything's simple: www.davidlive.com. Or you can see me on the street. You know, I'm sometimes nice. Not a morning person, so
Don't talk to them in the morning.
give me about 8:30. You know, rock stars have a different morning routine. So.
Yes. Late night working. So our time is up, but let's leave our listeners with a little a cappella.
Yeah, well, because it's the month. Long ago, and oh, so far away, I fell in love with you before the second show. And your guitar, you sound so sweet and clear, but you're not really here. It's just the radio. Yes, I did.
All right. Well,
that is it.
unfortunately, we have to take a commercial break. I would sing, but listen, I don't want to take away from my next guest, David Lyve. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for having me.
Listen, everyone, stay tuned because we're going to be talking to Pat Taggart about an amazing, humorous, and unbelievable story that is now a documentary film. All right, and we are back. A beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Thanks for joining me and my fantastic guests. We were just talking to the amazing David Lyve, PHL Live Center Stage 2017 R&B winner, just a fantastic musician and performer. And of course, Andrew Frishkoff from Philadelphia LISC. LISC stands for Local Initiative Support Corporation. Check them out on Google. They give away money and they help community organizations $400 million they've given away since the 1980s. Now we're joined by Pat Taggart. He is a director, writer, Philadelphia indie filmmaker, and he really is going to talk to us primarily about one of his films. He has several, but one which is coming out actually today on iTunes and whatnot. It's called Billboard Boys.
That's right.
All right, Pat, welcome to the show.
Councilman, thank you for having me. Just don't ask me to sing. I am not David Lyve.
Oh, none of us are really, you know. So, but listen, you have, you've done this documentary on this really fascinating, true story. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so the year was 1982. The economy was just awful. It was the worst economy we've had in the States since the Great Depression. So mortgage interest rates were 18%.
Yikes.
So this little AM radio station in Allentown said, hey, we can only afford one billboard. Let's make it count. Let's put 3 people up to live on it. That way people will see them up there and it'll bring some attention to our sign. And, man, they got way more than they bargained for.
So they originally had this idea, we're going to have this contest, and whoever sits on this billboard the longest is going to win what?
They're going to win a mobile home. So it was a modular home. They would take it and plop it on a foundation, and there was no limit to how many times you can enter.
Right.
They got 600,000 entries.
Wow.
47,000 of them were from one guy.
Oh, goodness. Oh, right. Well, was he selected?
He was selected. Yeah. They kept
I'd
pulling.
select him too. I'd select him too.
It was random. They kept pulling his name, and eventually, finally, they got a second and third contestant. But he was like the first, 6 or 8 they pulled.
Right.
And what was really surprising was these guys thought it would be a cakewalk. Each one of them were suited to stay up there forever. And it was just a perfect storm of getting these 3 guys whose pull to stay up was so much stronger than the pull to bring them down.
Yeah, so let's go back a little bit. I mean, when you talk about, like, there's a billboard, a little radio station in Allentown, and they say, we'll have this contest to kind of draw attention to our billboard. You'll win this modular home and all that. You figure 3 guys will go up maybe for 48 hours, 72 hours, maybe 3 or 4 days at the longest. How long were they up there?
Well, they eventually brought 2 guys down after 9 months and had to give them both a home because they just weren't going to come down. But 200 days into the contest, one of the contestants was brought down by the police for selling marijuana to an undercover police officer.
Now, can you imagine this? Like, how could you possibly be sitting on the top of a billboard selling marijuana to an undercover police officer?
He got framed. So what happened was the guy came and
the other 2 guys did it.
Well, he had just gotten out of the military, and as soon as he walked home, his name's Dalton Young. As soon as he entered the door, his mom's like, "Hey, Dalton, there's this contest. We really want you to enter." So he didn't really have anything going on, wasn't ready to move on and be an adult. So he thought, "Hey, I'll go up on this billboard for a while." And this fellow soldier came out and befriended him, and turned out to be an undercover cop. There was so much pressure at the time.
It seems kind of rotten.
It was rotten.
Guy sitting on a billboard, 1 of 3 guys.
No.
9 months into sitting on the billboard, you're gonna do.
Well, the good news is there must not have been very high crime in the Allentown area, or else the police would have been busy doing something else.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing was that it went on for so long that the township was under tremendous pressure to end it, and they had to find a way to get these guys down.
We're talking about what kind of weather. I mean, they're in there, lightning, storms, cold, hot, whatever. What's going on? These guys are really up there for a long time.
Yeah, they lived in north face tents. And people think, oh, you must have to go up in the morning, you stay for 8 hours, and you come down. No, they had to stay. Not only that, but they had to find people on the ground to send them up food.
Oh, they were up there.
Oh, they were up there, and they lived through the blizzard of '83.
I'm sorry, how did they go to the relieve themselves?
I'm very glad you asked that, Dave. So
it's in the film.
They had chemical toilets, and they had eventually when they filled up, they had to send them down in a bucket, and someone had to empty them.
Oh, so they even did that up there.
Oh yeah, no, so they couldn't come down.
They were up there. Yeah, because I was thinking they probably got 15 minutes to go down.
Oh no.
So nothing.
Well, that's why they thought there's no way this goes longer than a month.
Right.
But these
guys
guys
sleep up there.
They just settled in. Yeah, there was tremendous competition between the 3 of them. In fact, they didn't speak to each other or acknowledge each other's presence for the first 2 months they were on the billboard. So these guys were competitive, man.
They were determined.
Yes, the one guy was a newlywed. And he thought the only way we can ever get out of our apartment and get a home is if we win one. And so they were all these guys were tough. Way tougher than me.
You know what? Way tougher than me too. I mean, I wouldn't sit on the billboard for 9 months.
How long would you last?
Oh, I might last like about 3 hours. I am coming down, man. I'm telling you, I am coming down.
And it was, they're right over the busiest highway in the Lehigh Valley, and so when cars drove by or planes flew overhead, the billboard would just shake.
I'm saying, I know it gets windy up there. The thing rattles. It's not, you're not really guaranteed safety sitting up there.
And they would shake it on each other.
Oh.
So they were doing everything they could to try to get the other guys to come down. Right. They just made life miserable for each other. And, man, but they're tough.
How did you come across this story?
Yeah, so it was a 30-year look-back article in the Lehigh Valley Morning Call, which is the local paper up there. My wife's from the Valley. I'm from Southwest Philadelphia.
Right.
And I read it, and I was just fascinated with the characters, obviously with the stunt, the fact that they stayed so long. And I said to myself, and we've had radio historians confirm this is the greatest radio contest of all time. I said, there's no way that there's been nothing done on this. And I called the producer, Frank Pecca, and I said, Frank, please tell me that there's been nothing done on this. They do some legwork, and sure enough, he got back and said, nothing has been done. And I said, well, there will be, because we're going to go down this road.
So what does your documentary film, what does it reveal? What does it cover?
Yeah, I think that, well, quite literally, it covers the entire span of the contest and the aftermath. I think that's what's really interesting to me is that how one event with the same variables can affect 3 people in 3 completely different ways. One of the guys that went up there, he won. He was one of the 2 winners. So technically he won, but what he was up there for and what he got was a taste of celebrity, and all the publicity, because there was media that came from around the world. I mean, these guys were in Rolling Stone magazine, People magazine, Time. When all those cameras went away, what he was left with was his mobile home and some of the other prizes.
And his celebrityness was gone.
It was gone, and that's all he wanted was someone to put a microphone in his face. And
was he depressed from that?
Yeah, I mean, his ex-wife is interviewed, and he unfortunately died young. But she said he was never the same after that.
That is so strange.
Yeah, and whereas the other winner, Ron Kistler, the other one of the 2 that didn't sell drugs to an undercover cop, he was completely satisfied getting that home and immediately moved on to his life as if it never happened.
Right.
Whereas Dalton Young, who got busted, for him it was a black eye for so long. Until eventually he realized, hey man, I might as well just have fun with this. When we approached him, he was like, you know what? Time's passed. It's been 30 years. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, maybe he got a new career now.
He is actually,
film.
believe it or not, he is now a drug counselor.
Oh, perfect.
Yes.
It's a good happy ending to the story.
Now you understand why we wanted to tell the story. So
my goodness.
I mean, there's just all these little nuggets.
So before we continue our interview, for those people who are like on the edge of their seat, where can they check out this film?
Yes, it's a really exciting day for us. It was released today on iTunes and Amazon. If you just type in Billboard Boys, you'll find it. The tagline is the greatest radio contest of all time. We truly believe it is. Billboardboys.com also has plenty of info, and if you rent it and review it, but don't like the film, I will send you your money back.
Oh wow, that's some kind of guarantee.
Absolutely. No, we just look. You don't make documentary films to make a lot of money. There's like a handful of guys on the planet that do.
Right.
But we love this story so much, and we just want to share it.
Oh, that is fantastic. By the way, the owner of the Eagles, he's a documentary filmmaker, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. He owns a football team and I don't. So obviously I need to get with him and find out what I'm doing wrong. Jeff Lurie, are you listening?
Jeff Lurie, I understand, received Academy Awards for his documentary film.
Yeah. He's a Hollywood guy.
Yeah,
man.
That's fascinating. But so what do you bring to documentary filmmaking? What is your secret sauce in all of this?
Well, I think really it's trying to get to the truth, but presenting it in the best way possible. I think that every story has elements of comedy and elements of drama, and if you marry those two the right way, if you just want to tell a dramatic story, it's really, really hard to keep an audience for an hour and a half with just drama.
Right.
Same way with comedy, there has to be some story to it. We really lucked into this where it has a little bit of everything, man. Like, it has wonderful characters, it's funny, it's dramatic, it's weird. And so I think, what do I bring special to it? I don't know. I think I stumbled into a wonderful story, but I think that the interview is such a huge part of documentary films that your goal as a filmmaker, if you are conducting interviews, is to make people comfortable to be able to tell their story.
Right.
And hopefully that's what I've learned how to do over the
To
years.
be transparent, to kind of go deeper than they normally would, to reveal, you know.
Or if you know there's something funny there, like I'll smile at you to the point where you're like, why is this guy smiling at me? But I just want people to smile and bring out that humor, because sometimes people get uptight.
Right.
You know, people know their story. Your job is to create the best atmosphere for them to be able to tell it.
Fantastic. You have, of course, done other types of work. I'm looking at a list of things. One of them was a national winner for Great Place to Work video contest.
Yeah, I own and operate my own production company. It's tagvisual.com is the site. And so I do a lot of corporate work. And it's the same thing, whether it's a film like Billboard Boys. There's so many companies that need video to be able to tell their story. There's no better way to communicate now. My wife comes into my office every day. She never says, hey, read this. It's always, hey, watch this. So that's how we communicate now. And so businesses need that. And so whether I'm doing a film like Billboard Boys or I'm getting to tell stories for companies, you know, documentary filmmaking, it's still all the same. It's something that I really love.
Okay, fantastic. So for people who want to hire you for your video work, where do they go?
That's tagvisual.com.
Tagvisual.com, can't beat that. So that's what pays the bills,
Yes.
and I'm sure you're, you know, as committed to your work. And everything. But this is for fun, or this is for art, or what is this for?
That's the $1 million question. It's a passion. I mean, when you get bit like anything, you know, you have David Lyve. I mean, I can tell how much he loves music. It's something that just gets in you. That's how I feel about filmmaking. It's really, I just always thought it was really cool that one day when I have grandkids and they say, hey, how'd you spend your time? I can press play and say, you know, this is what I did with my time.
Check this out.
Yeah.
In our last couple of minutes here, can you tell us about what it's like to be an indie filmmaker here in Philadelphia?
Well, it's a wonderful place to make films. You know, the Greater Philadelphia Film Office is tremendously supportive to independent filmmakers, and they've been really wonderful to us. Sharon Pinkerson and the team down there have been really, really wonderful. And, you know, there's been great films made in Philadelphia.
Yes.
You know, I honestly think that you can make films anywhere. You know, the equipment is so accessible now, whereas when I first got out of school, it was quite an investment. Now, if you have a story to tell, you can tell it. Don't worry if you have the best stuff on the planet. Just worry about finding a great story and telling it with some passion.
So what's up next for you?
We are doing a documentary about a guy named Nick Lightning, and
gotta like that name.
Yes, he's a guy that kind of created this persona for himself that he's a rock star, and he truly believes it, and we kind of believe he is too. But I think the thing that I would love to do most of all is an ESPN 30 for 30 on Philadelphia sports fans, because I think they're so incredibly misunderstood. And I'm tired of all the BS out there about throwing snowballs at Santa. It's the national media being really, really lazy and not finding the truth that these are the best sports fans on the planet.
Oh, wow. Fantastic. So that's a lot to look forward to. Listen, thanks for joining me on this show. We'll hope to follow along. For all of you out there, you know, hey, Philadelphia LISC, LISC, what it can do for communities, neighborhoods. David Lyve. With a Y, Live, David Lyve. Check him out. And of course, you know, you can check out Billboard Boys, Pat Taggart's documentary film. Fascinating, interesting stuff. And so listen, join me next Tuesday and every Tuesday here on WWDB 860 AM. And I'll see you later.